This is the cover of the late Anne Rice's book Prince Lestat that she had no control over. And these were her fans' reactions when they saw it for the first time. Oof, not good. Now you might be thinking, why would a well-established and well-loved author consent to use a book cover that she hated? Well, in this video I'm going to explain why, because the answer is something you may not expect. Let's say you're an author. You spent years crafting your latest novel. It has been edited, poked and prodded, and it's finally ready for the cherry on top of the cake, the cover. The day comes when the publisher presents the cover to you and you hate it. Not only that, but your fans hate it too. Absolutely soul-crushing. In Anne Rice's case, she's not exactly quiet about it. She didn't like that fans thought she designed the cover, and she especially didn't like that people assumed she had any control over the cover at all, because she didn't and never had. She even says she begged her publisher not to pick this cover, and they didn't listen. In her words, it's a bitter shock and crushing disappointment, and fans agreed. They didn't like the model chosen for Lestat, they didn't like the overall feeling of the cover, and they were even looking to buy the American version, which Anne also hated, by the way. So this begs the question, should authors have control over their cover designs, and why don't they have control in the first place? Anne's Lestat cover is a great example because Anne herself didn't hold back in the comments. She was pretty courageous. But a lot of authors do hold back. They accept covers they don't like, and when fans complain, they don't say a bad word at all. There are two reasons for this. One, authors want to have faith and trust in their publisher's decision-making, and two, they contractually can't have a say in their cover design. Let's start with the first reason, because even if an author didn't like the cover design, they may not kick up a fuss because they want to trust the publishers. Jessica Straws's debut novel, Almost Missed You, is a good example of this. Jessica may have been on the other side of the table while working at a publishing house, but when it came to her own novel, she was just as nervous about the cover. But Jessica, like a lot of other authors, had faith that her publisher knew what they were doing. She said she knew her cover would be created, evaluated, and scrutinized by people who know the market inside and out, and have more expertise than she does. This is the important bit. The author knows the writing, but the publisher knows the market and also knows what sells. She says that the author and publisher all have the same goal: to sell lots of books and thrill the readers enough that they get to keep doing what they love. For this reason, even if an author doesn't like the cover at all, they might stick with it anyway or not kick up a fuss because they are letting the publishers do their job. But what if the author still doesn't like the cover and wants to veto it or scrap it altogether? Well, a lot of the time they simply can't because it's not in their contract. Authors like Anne, while haven't revealed the specific terms of their contract, have said they don't have a say on their cover designs, and the only way they could is if they break from their publisher. Want to get specific? I know you do. Every publisher is different, and so are their contracts. Depending on your clout, popularity, the genre you're writing in, a multitude of other things, your contract could look completely different from another author's. In the case of cover designs, you have a few options. Final approval or veto powers. These are highly unlikely because you'll be putting the publisher in a bind and will probably cost them a lot of money redoing your cover if you don't like it. Consultation rights. These usually allow you to have your voice heard, but the final approval still rests with the publisher. Or nothing at all. In all likelihood, Anne probably had consultation rights or nothing. Depending on when she signed the contract with her publisher, she likely would have published at least all 13 Vampire Chronicles books under the same contract. And after Anne informed her publisher of her fans' backlash, you never guess what happened. They redid the cover anyway. That's right, around 1 month later, they redesigned the hardcover of Prince Lestat and completely removed the bloke on the front. Anne was pleased, and so were fans. Success. Better yet, when the paperback version released down the line, they changed that too. Less face, more mystery, better font. Of course, Anne is just one of many authors in a vast pool of authors that are actually happy with their cover designs even if they have no control over them. Authors are a creative bunch. They want their cover to represent the inside of the book, and rightly so. Even Glennon Doyle, author of Untamed, had some trouble when working with a publisher, although she loved the end result. And when I asked you if it bothered you that authors didn't have much control, you said yes. You wanted them to have a say, their interpretation taken into account. After all, they're already having to market themselves on social media. But at the same time, some of you thought it should be a negotiation. The authors, while are great writers, are not designers too. Control over cover design can be a good or a bad thing. It is true that not all authors are designers too. We've all seen those indie covers that don't do a good job of representing what's inside the book at all, but we've also all seen those indie covers that are absolutely beautiful and do an amazing job of marketing and selling the book. For the most part, even if the authors don't actually have much of a say in their cover design, sometimes they're still included in the design process in some shape or form. But according to Penguin, that comes much later. The author is consulted towards the end of the process, when a proposed cover has already been developed. There are so many factors that go into this process. The author doesn't know what's in the brief that's given to the designer. The designer may not actually read the book. There are design meetings when the author isn't invited. Only later does the author get a look in. I'll let you decide if that's a good thing or not. It's clear that a publishing house like Penguin has a process that they follow that's tried and tested for cover designs. There are many moving parts and people to include, and the author, who will likely want changes, comes last. The publishing house wants to send the author something that's pretty much complete. Only small tweaks needed, not only to save them money by not having to redo the cover design, but also to send the author something that's not half done. I can understand that point of view from a business perspective, but in the long run, if you have to redesign the cover anyway, like in Anne Rice's case, then I'm not sure the process is 100% foolproof. So you tell me, do you think authors should have more control over their cover designs, or are you happy with the way it is? And if you like this video, then you'll probably also like the one on screen right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.